Now, given the pressure that Arne Slot was under coming into this fixture, I don't really think he could have written a better script for this 90 minutes, because what we saw was a controlled, professional performance as Liverpool ran out 2-0 winners against West Ham. And it was a win, not just in scoreline, but in terms of the general performance as well, that was quite reminiscent of Liverpool at the best last season, completely in control from start to finish, just completely fuss-free win for them, really. And I think the statistics bear out that they were pretty good today as well. So West Ham takes 7 shots and Liverpool 9. You might look at that statistic and think it was a fairly balanced game, but West Ham, not a single shot on target in a home game. I think that's quite an impressive defensive performance from Liverpool. Liverpool themselves take 5 shots on target and they generate 1.26 expected goals, and West Ham managed just 0.32. And so, on the balance of it, Liverpool absolutely running out deserved winners there. And I think some of the most pleasing aspects really were some of the bad things and the issues that we've seen in recent games. We didn't see an awful lot of those. So for starters, individual errors. In the defensive third, we didn't see any of those, which helped Liverpool keep what has been a rare clean sheet recently. I thought the build-up looked pretty decent. We didn't see a lot in terms of Liverpool's press. I think they kind of, I think that's an element of the game. I'm not entirely sure that's going to be able to be sorted out this season and on the fly. And of course, West Ham didn't give massive opportunities to press them either with the way they kind of played. But as I say, those other aspects were definitely improved on what we've seen. And you could say that West Ham were poor in this game, and I think they were definitely, but they have improved of late as well. I think they were unbeaten in 3 coming into this. So, as much as they were poor in this game, I do think there was an aspect of Liverpool making them look bad with a really, as I say, controlled and really confident performance that they put in, which is pretty surprising, really, given, they can't feel that authority naturally at the moment, given the position they're in, surely, and the defeats that they've had. But they did a good job of looking in control, as I say. And of course, we've had false dawns many a time already this season. I think back to those back-to-back wins over Aston Villa and Real Madrid, and they really looked like Liverpool were back. But this has to just be a building block. And the only thing Arne Slot would have wanted from this game was a good win and a good performance. And he got both. And that's the only way you're going to get yourself out of this malaise that they've been in recently. It's the only way that the manager is going to save his job, is going one game at a time with a good performance, follow that up with another good performance, and then keep going from there and see if you can drag yourself into a decent position. And the fact is, Liverpool can do that still as well. They've been awful recently. I listed how many defeats they've had, but they're 3 points off third in the Premier League as I record this now. And so it just shows you, if you string a few wins together, they will be fully in control of whether they qualify for the Champions League or not. It does not take much to get up there. It's not like competing for the title where you have to win every week. It's, there is room for manoeuvre on that. So Liverpool, if you do string a few wins together, I think 3 or 4 wins on the bounce, and all of a sudden I would imagine they would be in the top 4. And as I say, don't want to get ahead of yourself, but this is a pretty good building block to move them towards that. And hopefully they can use it and they can build on it. And this is the foundation for Arne Slot turning this season around. It's certainly a good start on that front anyway. Now, before I get into the rest of the video, when talking about individual performances, and there are a lot to like from those, I'm absolutely delighted to say that our good friends at NordVPN are back on board with the next few match videos. So once again, you can support the channel and get yourself a bargain by heading to nordvpn.com/Lynch LFC. Now, I've told you a million times what VPNs are all about. For those who don't know, well, if you want to watch something that's geo-blocked in your country, whether you're abroad or at home, I think using your tablet to watch something, I think with my son, for example, if I'm away on holiday and he can't watch the programs that are on here, streaming services in the UK, you can access those away from home now. And of course, there's also the other benefits as well. You can change your location to 127 different countries at the moment, so it's kind of like teleporting around the world. It's helpful for never missing a Liverpool game as well, no matter what time that kicks off. And it also, all the extras as well, it keeps your personal info safe, it hides your IP address, which is a huge plus, and I think you can use it on 10 different devices as well. And at the moment, they've got a Black Friday offer on that gives you 4 months extra free when you purchase the 2-year plan. So, and it's completely risk-free as well, because they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not happy in that 30-day period, you can get your money back. So, bit of a no-brainer for me, really, if you're looking at a VPN to go for this one. And of course, it's my birthday today as well. So if you really want to support the channel and you're thinking about getting a VPN, and you probably should be in this day and age, they're massive at the moment, aren't they? maybe click that link there, nordvpn.com/LynchLFC. As I say, it really helps support the channel if you can click that, and the link is down in the episode description box as well at the bottom. So thanks to NordVPN, and they will be on board for the next few match videos as well, which I'm very, very grateful for. Now, going back into those individual performances, and I think there's a lot to talk about in terms of those, and I think the first player really I want to talk about is a certain Florian Wirtz. Now, for me, his best performance in the Premier League so far for Liverpool, really. And funnily enough, you kind of look at his numbers from the game, and they're not crazy, they're not absolutely outstanding. One shot, one chance created, one dribble completed. But I always say you've got to use the stats and the eye test, and you know, you've got to kind of back that up. And I think anybody who watched that game will know that Florian Wirtz was very, very good. You don't kind of think of someone who's in that advanced midfield position running the show. You always think of that as a metronome player who's a deep lying midfielder. But Florian Wirtz, very much for the time he was on the pitch here, I thought ran the game. Little flicks and tricks, little drops to the shoulder, getting away from his marker, just creating space for others, finding them with little neat passes as well. And quite funny, really, 95% pass completion. So the most of anyone who played over a half in the game. And he wasn't playing easy passes either. He was getting those little cute ones that maybe the defenders didn't see. He was playing his teammates into really promising positions. He was just brilliantly creative. And I think what kind of sums him up is that he won't, for example, get an assist in the numbers for his involvement in Alexander Isak's goal, but he was absolutely at the heart of that. And he's just got such a lovely way to pass and appreciation, hasn't he, of where his teammates are. And I think we're just seeing it now. I've never been concerned about Florian Wirtz. I think anyone who's watched this channel will know that I've always said I'm absolutely certain that he will be a success here, because we've seen enough flashes from him. But of course, the Premier League, it takes time to adapt. It can be difficult. It can be more physical than you used to. But I think we're now seeing it now. It's late November. He's had a few months here in England. He's training every day with his teammates. He's playing a lot of games, and we are starting to see the best of him now. So that's really exciting. I mean, it was quite gutted for him, really, that he got the injury when he did. Prior to this game, he obviously has missed out because he got an injury on international duty. And I felt prior to the international break, if you take out the Manchester City game, I thought he'd been very, very good and starting to really build. He had a good international break with Germany, and it felt like he was kind of, you know, positioned then to come back into the team here and really build on that. Now he's had that slight disruption with the injury, but he's back in today. And like I say, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. His best performance in the Premier League so far. And that is really, really helpful for Arne Slot, by the way, because, you know, we can talk about tactics and the issues Liverpool have had this season and physicality and winning duels and all those things. But if you have a £116 million player on your books and he isn't producing what he's capable of, it's going to make your team worse. Now, so, you know, in the start of the season when he was a bit quieter, he wasn't as heavily involved, that's causing you a problem because you've got someone on the pitch who's not giving you what you need from him. But we're starting to see it now. And, you know, if we're talking about things that might be able to save Arne Slot, then Florian Wirtz coming into form would be really massively helpful for that, I would suggest. So really encouraging to see that performance from him today. And yeah, I think a lot more to come from him. And anyone who's doubting that he won't make it in the Premier League, I think it's kind of a two fingers up to them, that performance, because he looked really, really good as far as I'm concerned. And similarly, Alexander Isak, again, we're talking all the tactics and all the issues you've got. If Alexander Isak is playing well and he's scoring goals for you, that is how you save a manager's job. That's how you make a team better. And again, quieter than Florian Wirtz, I thought, today, and he's clearly not at his peak fitness yet, but he still manages to get 3 shots from good positions as well. And I think shot getting is a really kind of important skill for strikers, particularly when you can finish like this guy. And I think he showed with his goal. That for me was an absolutely sublime finish. That is not an easy finish at all. The ball coming at him, it's kind of bouncing a bit. It's, you know, the way he just guides it in. Real skill in that finish and real quality. And, you know, it's not an easy one to put away, that. And of course, that is his first Premier League goal for Liverpool. And we're talking about this is the last day of November. So clearly there's so much more to come from him. And again, like Wirtz, if you've got a £125 million striker who isn't producing performances of that level of worth that fee, then it's going to cause you problems. But we really hope, and I think that great finish today, the fact he was getting shots, he's getting there. And so I think really encouraging. I think there's more to come. I think he will make the team better just by scoring goals and being there and being a threat. And so really, really important step for him today. So we'll see if he can build on that, much like the team really. But I'm massively encouraged, and I think getting Wirtz and Isak in form and on the pitch together will be pretty helpful for Arne Slot, that's for sure. And I also think it's helpful that Joe Gomez came in and did an excellent job at right back. I thought 2 clearances, 3 interceptions, 3 recoveries. I thought he used the ball well. He's just a really good footballer, isn't he? And I mean, you forget with all the concerns over the fact he's never fit and he's always having injuries. He's just a really, really good footballer, and he brought balance to the side. And I think he's so useful. He can play at right back, he can play centre half, you can put him even at left back as well if you wanted. I think one of the reasons Slot has been kind of concerned about using him really is that I don't think he wants to become reliant on Joe Gomez when it's so obvious that he's going to break down soon. But if you can dip him in and out, and he can put in performances like that, it's just really, really helpful to have around the squad. And this is a tough one because Liverpool have got a lot of fixtures in a short space of time here, haven't they? So, can you really keep him in the team and play him in the Wednesday game against Sunderland? Can you then push him to play the Leeds game? I'm not so sure. But it would be helpful if you could, because he's just like I say, a really, really good player who I thought played really well today. Now, of course, there were some big calls from the manager in this game as well, which I want to touch on and talk about a player who didn't play in this game, which of course is Mohamed Salah. Now, I don't doubt that the manager said before the game that the decision was because Liverpool have got so many games this week, you've got to rotate a little bit. But as much as he tried to play it down, for me, that still felt like a massive call from the manager to leave him out. Because at the end of the day, look, he's going to be off to AFCON soon. You've got to think about that. So, you might as well kind of squeeze everything you can out of him before he goes. But I just think the manager looked at it and thought, how can I put out the best, most balanced team that gives me the best chance of winning this football game? And that team did not have Mohamed Salah in it. Now, for the last 9 seasons he's had at Liverpool, when has that ever been the case that a Liverpool team, you would name a team sheet and it wouldn't have Salah on, and you would think that would be the best team to go and win a game? But the fact is, he's obviously given you very little on the defensive end and what he does there with his work rate off the ball. But that's always been the case. And what kind of masks that was he was always getting goals and assists. But of course, as soon as those dry up, then you start to have to carry Mo Salah a little bit. And I don't want to say that I don't buy into that he's completely finished and this is his level now and Liverpool won't see the best of him again at some points this season. But with his form at the moment, I think this was the right call from the manager, and he deserves huge credit because it's a brave call as well. But it was the right call, and I think to say that about Mohamed Salah seems almost blasphemous really, but it brought some balance to the team. You had Szoboszlai on that right hand side, and that really worked. It kept Liverpool solid down that side, alongside having Joe Gomez in there. I thought it freed up Florian Wirtz to kind of play his best football by being in that number 10 position, but with a bit of running around him as well, and Szoboszlai kind of covering off for him. So really, really good call from the manager, a big one. But it looked like the best one. And you do wonder, don't you, if he does go to AFCON soon, which is obviously he will, when he comes back, if Liverpool have picked up a bit of form without him, if this system works and they want to keep it going forward, then, is Mohamed Salah going to be in the second half of this season struggling to get in the Liverpool team? I mean, we can't just read everything. It is only one game. We will see him this week. The manager has to rotate with the amount of games that Liverpool have got. But yeah, it felt like a big call and one that paid off for him today. And so, you almost start to think, is it time now to kind of rip the plaster off and go into that post-Mohamed Salah world? And, you almost didn't want that to happen this season. Everybody wanted him to sign a new contract. But maybe Arne Slot is thinking, if I'm going to save my job, I need to make a call like this. And as I say, paid off for him today, a big one. But yeah, it's a difficult one to really see how that one's going to play out. And yeah, Mohamed Salah, when he does come back into the team, he could certainly do with a goal, couldn't he, or an assist, or just a good performance really to prove that he needs to be in this side. And maybe we need to see a bit more work rate from him on the defensive end as well. And another call I want to say as well, give credit to the manager for this, is picking Milos Kerkez again. For me, sometimes when I've kind of talking about him, I know he's not been perfect this season, but the way people talk about him, for me, I think it's almost like we're watching a different player at times. I think Milos Kerkez, he's had problems this season, and I think the way Liverpool have used him in build-up has not been great for him, and he's not looked comfortable at times. But I still think, I think he's shown, particularly in the last couple of games or so, he's just a really, really good player. And I think he gives you a lot on the defensive end. He's very, very hard to beat. He gets up and down, great energy, and he can look a bit kind of rough on the ball at times. But you've got to, you knew that when you signed him. You knew what you were getting from him, and you knew he was going to be that kind of player. So you've just got to play to his strengths. And I think Liverpool is starting to get better at that. I think he looks a little bit more settled now. And I think the manager was right to just kind of keep him in this period. It would have been so easy again to go back to Robertson. Well, that worked. I'll have to stick with that now for the rest of the season. But you know that Milos Kerkez is a young player. He just needs a bit of time. And I think we're starting to see, much like with Wirtz now, albeit it's not been the change of league, but the change of club is never easy. We're starting to see, for me, the best of him. And I really do think he's a great little player. And there is even more to come from him. And I think, people will catch up with now that, Liverpool haven't signed a dud. He's not a poor player. He just maybe needed a bit of time and a bit of getting used to his teammates. And we're starting to see better from him. So again, hopefully he can build on that and keep it going forward. And hopefully the manager keeps showing the trust and the faith in him, because it was brave to do that. Would have been easy to go back to Robertson, but I think Kerkez is rewarding him recently with the level of his performances. I do think he's a really good player. So that kind of wraps it up, really. A long, long way to go. And as I say, not getting carried away in terms of what this all means for Arne Slot's future. He needed a win and he needed a good performance today, but that's just one good performance. It's one good win, and it has to be a building block for more for Liverpool. They need to go into these next couple of games and do the same. They need to play well and they need to win. And if they do that, the manager can save himself. It almost looked like he was in a position after the PSV defeat where it was a matter of when, not if. But if you can keep these wins coming, keep these good performances going, then hey, he's got a chance of saving himself, hasn't he? And getting Liverpool back into a position where they need to be, which is, of course, in the top 4 in those Champions League spots. So, going to wrap it up there anyway. If you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who was your man of the match? What do you think of the game? And does the manager just have to stick with this 11 and this setup going forward? Let me know your thoughts on all that. And as usual, I'm going to say, if you can like and subscribe, we massively appreciate that. And hey, don't forget about that offer on NordVPN as well. NordVPN.com/LynchLFC. And I'll see you guys very soon.